Hey guys, I wanted to take some time to share some more life advice. And this one I was thinking about depression. I've been depressed for a while. I've been trying to deal with it and handle it and learn how to improve myself on it. Um, and I'm getting slowly better, but it's taken time. Um, and I guess I want to help those who may not be in a right place or a right mindset or a right situation. For any who happens to stumble on this video, um, because not everyone's going to have a perfect time, and not everyone understands the idea of depression either. Maybe this will help shed some light onto that as well. Um, so back in the day, uh, I worked 70 to 80 hours a week, and that spiraled me out of control. Nothing happened specifically, but I went into survival mode. I'm still technically in survival mode, and I guess I lost my sense of self. Um, and before that, I was feeling depressed as well. I just didn't realize I was going through depression. Um, looking back now, I can tell why I was struggling as much as I did, and why it was as difficult as it was. Um, even though it, even though I had a pretty decent upbringing, I feel. Um, so what I've come to understand, back in the day, I thought there was two general types of depression, but I've come to understand that there's a third one most recently. The first is that I call it the woe is me type of depression. Sometimes you can make yourself depressed by if you think too many negative thoughts about yourself. So, I can't do this. I'm a failure. I messed up this XYZ over and over again. I can't do it because I'm going to mess up. Please pay attention to me because I am a failure. That kind of depression is kind of bad because it kind of creates a victim mentality. Uh, and you almost want people to pay attention to you to try to get you out of it. But the problem is that it's not going to fix you. It's not going to fix yourself. You have to rely on your own emotions and your own skill sets to try to move you out of that. And you need a reality check too. Not everyone is going to be able to help you or fix you. You have to kind of do it on your own. The second type that I've understood is just some people are born with it. Some people are genetically predisposed to be more depressed than others, which is kind of a shame. And so the first one, if I were to describe the feeling, because I've felt that before, it's just like you're kind of in a dark cloud constantly over you. The second one, I'm not sure if I'm genetically predisposed for it, but what I've come to understand is that, like, all of your emotions, you start shutting them down. And eventually, you no longer feel anything. And it can get so crazy that you just no longer think about anything. All the stuff that you like doing, you don't find joy in them anymore. And it's not even that you don't even find and you gotta realize it's not so much sadness either. You don't feel sad. It's not like the death of a loved one or losing your favorite game. You just literally stop feeling or caring, and it's like, I feel like it's a response as you're trying to shut down the emotions so that you don't have to feel them, because maybe something else is going on. And then the third one is that I'm coming to understand it a little bit more, is a lack of purpose. Not knowing what you're doing with your life, not knowing how you fit and why you're here. And it kind of sucks. Now, the reason, one of the big reasons depression is so bad, and how it can spiral out of control, is that when you have a negative thought can then build onto another negative thought, and so on and so on, and then eventually you just kind of spiral down until you feel like you're nothing. There are ways to stop this, and I had to kind of self-train myself how to do it because I couldn't afford therapy. And I'll say this, that the best thing to do is to try to get therapy. I'm not going to that's the best option. The second best option is if you have a close friend or a close relative who you feel you can talk through this stuff about, so that you can either get it off your chest, so you can bounce off the ideas, so that someone may possibly relate to you. And here's the thing, they may not understand what you're going through, but you still need to get it out. That's very important. And third, and this is going to get a little complicated. If you don't have a means and you don't feel you have anyone, what you have to try to do is you have to try to get into a neutral zone, mentally and emotionally. And the way you do that is that you have to both try not to feel the depression and try to be very realistic about what you're feeling and what's going on at the time. So for me, for example, what I do now is that I always ask, am I okay? I'll mentally ask that to myself. And sometimes I'll respond to myself, I'm not okay, or I am okay. And that at least lets me know where I am in my headspace, because I've dissociated so hard my emotions because of everything that I've gone through. But the importance of the neutral zone, the reason why you need to do that, if you try to suppress the emotions, what's going to happen is that it's impossible to suppress them completely. They will show up in other ways, in your body or through your mannerisms. And if you suppress them too tightly, another thing that will happen is that they can eventually explode, and that's when dangerous things happen. On the flip side, however, is that if you are too open about your emotions, life is still life. And if you, suppose you try to share your emotions at work and you have a breakdown at work, they can be forgiving, but suppose you want promotions, suppose you want raises. If you're not mentally well enough, your peace of mind, your state of mind is affected by that. And so there has to be a level of professionalism. You have to do the job. Life keeps going on. Time doesn't care. So you need to find a way to get those emotions out, which is why talking it out through therapy, or at least to a relative or friend, can help quite a lot. And also, if you are incredibly realistic about how you feel, it helps train you to understand what you're feeling at the time and prevent those negative thoughts, and you can stop them before you spiral down. One thing I've said is that it's better to pretend to be happy than it is feeling depressed. And you can only pretend to be happy if you understand that you're feeling depressed. And so you can kind of make it work. Now, another thing a lot of people say is the most important thing with dealing with depression is to have a good diet, sleep well, and exercise. And if you can do that, that will help immensely. The weird situation is that not everybody is able to do that, and some people aren't in the mindset to do that yet. I will say that the last piece of advice I can give you is that whatever state that you're in, never fully stop. You always have to try to keep moving, no matter how tired you are, no matter how depressed you are. Even if you fail, just embrace the failure and just try again. It's when you stop that, again, the negative thoughts will come and they'll start spiraling down. You kind of have to just pretend that the failure didn't happen and keep moving forward. The reason why is that the moment you stop, then you will truly have nothing. And here's the thing, when you keep going, you don't have to do much, right? I always say that one push-up is better than no push-ups. One step is better than 0 steps. You have to go at your own pace. That's more important than anything. But that's still a pace. And I always think of it like this, is that mental therapy can be like the physical therapy. If you want to learn to walk again, you have to actually learn how to walk. Mental therapy is kind of the same. If you want to learn to be well again, you have to actually try to do steps to be well. And it's not easy. It's painful. And it's something I'm trying to do. And I fail a lot. But you can't stop. And then I think one last piece of advice I want to share, and it kind of helps with the negative thoughts, at least for me, is that hope doesn't have to make sense. All right? Very often, when you get into a negative mindset, there's going to be a logical conclusion or logical pathway of why you are the way that you are, why you think the way that you think, why you feel the way that you feel. And then you may create logical pathways of where you're going to end up. What happens if you do this, and this? I'm very over analytical. I do this often. But I guess it's important to remember that hope doesn't have to make sense. You can believe in being better simply because you want to be better. You can shove it in there somewhere just because you can. And at least for me, it's something I always have to remind myself. Even with making videos, doing streaming, with my workload, with my own mental struggles, I always have to tell myself, I can do it, just because I can. And if I fail, then I fail, and I'll just have to try again later. So yeah, I hope this is helpful. It's just something that I've learned. If you have any questions or want to know any more, feel free to let me know down below. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic time. And thanks for watching.